Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Keeping It Local, and I am here with Steve Schlansky, the COO and CRO of Brookhill. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
I'm very happy to have you on. I've actually been looking to have someone on that is in your line of work. A lot of my homeowners, my sellers, my buyers. This is this is something that I feel is very important if you are a homeowner or a business owner or anything. So I've been waiting to have someone on that we can dive into this. So tell us exactly what Brookhill does.
You want me to stick to the residential world because that's going to be most apt to what you're talking about, which is fine.
We could start there, I mean, and give your whole overview if you want. I think that's fair since you're here.
Yeah, that works. So we do provide for both business and residences. Electronic security, burglar alarm, fire alarm is something that we don't do for standalone fire systems commercially, but it's part of what we provide in residential. But burglar alarm, CCTV, access control, just about anything in the commercial world and the residential world. We also are provide smart automation, AI technology for things in the home and in business, lighting systems, sound systems, electronic shades. Pretty much anything that's got an electronic pulse can be controlled with our, with the motherboards that we would install, and you of course control that with an app, which you can use, whatever device you want for. So, security, automation. Let's go.
I like that. All right. So now kind of, can we jump right into like how those two things are really blending together, how security and automation are kind of working cohesively?
Absolutely. I mean, in general, they're both kind of known in the low voltage world. So we don't have a license to touch anything that's 110 volts. It's all low voltage. Burglar alarms, CCTV, access control, the automation and system. It controls things that are driven by 110, but they're kind of related in the low voltage world, and they're kind of offshoots in one another, especially with the with automation and smart technology. You're kind of controlling everything. As much as you can control your burglar alarm remotely, and you can dive into your CCTV system if something happens. They're all kind of coordinated together. And the same thing with your automation. It's creating schedules or operating things manually, remotely. So it's kind of the same kind of technology, the same kind of driving force that you can work them both together or separately.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean that's I think everybody loves having everything on the phone, which is great. And being able to control your systems from there is super helpful. And
it's a different world than it was, say, 10 years ago, where grandma didn't know how to use a smartphone. But now grandma's on with her kids and her grandkids doing FaceTime, so she's using a smartphone. So it's something that you can provide for your mother or your grandmother, so that you can make her life easier to control things within her home.
Okay, so that makes me think, because I have two parents that are not technologically savvy at all. And my wife and I live half a mile away, and we always wind up having to go around the block to go to their house and fix a lot of things, download apps. So how easy would you say it is to operate the apps? Like, what level of skill do you need with the phone in order to be able to control everything from like this system?
Minimal. It's an app. It's easily controlled, and you're click, and and it's a very easy thing to show. YouTube videos are of course available, and plus we provide the service if there's ever any questions or concerns. But I mean, for you, my blah 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 isn't working. Okay, and you've got the app on your phone, and either yes it is, or let me just fix that for you. And so it's really, the systems are very intuitive. They also learn. So depending on how you set it up, so it couldn't be easier.
Okay.
But that's something that drives.
Hey, what's up, guys? John from the Nest Egg team here. Thank you for watching so far. really quickly, the real estate market is constantly changing. So if you're wondering what your home value is or how much equity you have in your home currently, click the link below in the description and you'll find out very quickly. Thanks for watching. Let's get back to the show.
The market away from do-it-yourself applications, because if you're not tech savvy, the do-it-yourself, yeah, will it be less expensive? Sure. But there's the dining room table syndrome. And you can quote me on that. And that is, somebody buys a do-it-yourself system and they've got the box and they put it on their dining room table because they're going to get to it. And then it sits there until somebody says, I need the table. And then it gets put on the floor in the dining room and it sits there. And then it doesn't get installed, and then it ends up in the closet, and that's for so many do-it-yourself applications that really does happen. But people don't have the time or the patience or the inclination to do it. Whereas professional automation companies or burglar alarm companies, security companies, that's what we do, and especially if it's a somewhat more complicated system, that's clearly the way to go. So,
okay, so give me then the pros and cons of the DIY. So that's one of them right there. The dining room table syndrome. I would label it the junk drawer syndrome, right? Because that's what I have in my house. Like all of a sudden it winds up in a drawer and you forget you had it. And it's funny you said that, because the other day, anybody who's got little kids, they can imagine, like, at some point in your house, you do a crazy purge with all the toys and everything. So we purged so much stuff. And I'm going through one of the drawers, one of my wife's junk drawers, and I find this contraption and I'm like, what is this? And it turns out it's this sensor that comes with the Roomba that prevents it from going to past a certain point in the room. And meanwhile, when we had the Roomba going, we had, like, I would put a laundry basket in the way. I would do this because I didn't want the thing going past a certain point. And I said, wait a minute, what does this do? And she explained it to me. And I said, we've had this the entire time.
Geofencing for your Roomba.
Like, oh, really? Like, we've had this the whole time, and now we clean out the drawers and it's there. So I totally get that. Give me some other reasons why having the professional system is better than having, or the pros and cons in general of professional.
I'll go through both things. So the cost, it's going to be less expensive and sometimes significantly less expensive to do it yourself. If you have technical skill, then you might be someone that, I can install that. And the time commitment. I mean, it doesn't take much to install a basic system, off the shelf, and pop it in. One of the issues is with the do-it-yourself is also, you might find, because this happens a lot with Ring doorbells, Blink doorbells, your front door is a long way away from your router. So you have connectivity issues, and that's something that a professional will deal with boosters throughout the home. So there's that. So if you're budget conscious, do it yourself. Like I said, if you're a tech savvy user, that's fine. It is a simple setup, but it's also a simple system. So it really depends on your application. For professional systems, complex systems, you've got a larger house, you do want to make sure that your alarm system works in conjunction with, turning on your lights to a schedule. And you want to make sure that schedules at different times, in case somebody, the world we live in, is casing your home. And, you don't want to see that you're turning the lights go on every single day at the exact same time. That's not somebody home. Overall, it's a peace of mind, because if something goes wrong with the do-it-yourself system, guess who the person is that's going to take care of that. And it's harder to find a security company that's going to want to touch, a do-it-yourself system. Right. And the more sophisticated, the more integrated, the more automated system that you have, it does increase property value. There's just no way around that. And when you're talking about property value, especially if you're in the mode of trying to sell or buy, but when you're selling, it used to be throw a coat of paint on it. That'll add some property value. and not that I'm advocating that people are going to spend $100,000 on an automation system in a burglar alarm system, blah, 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 or anything close. But, throw a couple of the, doodads, our company in general, people kept on looking at what we did, and they kept on using, a simple phrase, wow, that's cool. And we just, okay, yeah, because it is cool. So we put it in our slogan, which is safe, smart, cool, because it's cool stuff, because, and then you want that wow factor. If you just bought a new home, well, it's important to have, I think the statistic, I'm pretty sure, is that only 25% of people in this country, homeowners or, what have you, have alarm system, 25%, so the excuses you get are, we live in an apartment, we live in a gated community, we're always home, we have a dog. Okay. My answer to that is always the same, and I've lived through it, all aspects of it. Number one is you really need to have a monitored CO detection. You really need to have monitored smoke detectors. And this has happened to me twice. You need to have, and one time it worked, the other time we just were too far away when it happened. But you need to have what they're known as water bugs in the industry. Little devices that attack to your alarm system, and if all of a sudden there's water, it goes off, and you can even take it to the extent that you can have it connected. You work with a plumber and have the water shut down. So these are things that are important, and they add value to your home. Yeah. Especially on and in a funky market, value is a good thing. Return on investment is a good thing. And when you're putting in these systems, it's a great way for that to happen.
Well, and
hope that answers your question.
No, it definitely does. I mean, it's funny that you'd say that, because you made a couple of thoughts pop into my head there. One of them being, it's funny how I see so many homes that I walk into where they had an alarm system and either they didn't hook it up or they don't use it anymore. And I always am like, oh, well, now we have this thing, and sometimes they're antiquated, sometimes they're not. And it's like, okay, well, now we have this system that it's like, we got to.
If you're ever walking into a home, it's okay, sorry. But if you're ever walking into a home and you see motion detectors or smoke detectors or CO detectors and they look yellow,
they're done.
It's time for an upgrade.
Yeah.
So, and it's, in most systems, it's not really that expensive for the peace of mind. And, and that's a big thing, peace of mind. And, if you have kids, and you have a life safety emergency, from what I've read is that children don't always respond to those smoke detector or CO detector beep and stuff that, for the ones that plug in the wall. But, when a phone is ringing to you, and then your next contacts, and then of course the fire department or the police department, that's important, and that's life-saving. And literally we have a lake house upstate, and we turned on the heat because it was still cold at the end of the spring, and boom, it happened to us. So it's important. It's really important stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the water detection thing I find to be very intriguing. And I feel that a lot of people either they don't know about it or they feel like they don't need it. And I've seen so many floods happen in basements. It just happened to my mother-in-law recently, and we were joking around because we have been holding my brother-in-law's high school diploma, his med school diploma. We've been holding it at our house for years now. Like, they finally are getting settled, and we just brought it to him this weekend, and we were joking around about how smart of a decision he was, a lucky decision, that he left it with us, because if he had left it with his mom, that would have all been destroyed in the basement, because that's where it would have been. And the other brother said the same thing. He's like, oh, she had my stuff. It's probably ruined now.
It's funny. Someone I network with 5 months ago, upstairs bathroom, boom, and like a fire hose. And he was home. But in that moment, but he didn't remember where the turnoff valve was.
Yeah, that could happen. Pressure. Yep.
And that could, and he just didn't. So it was 5 months he was out of his home.
Yeah.
5 months.
Yep.
And you can imagine if you have a project that's lasting 5 months, how expensive that was.
Yep.
And insurance covers, not all of it, some of it, but a portion of it. But if you have the ability to say, okay, under my refrigerator, because there's water that goes to that, under my washer, under my dishwasher, under my sinks, little water detection devices that if they're sensing it, boom, that's it. It's an early detection. And that's, and right there is kind of the difference now in newer automation and alarm systems versus older ones. Older ones tend to be, they're passive, they react. Whereas newer ones using, smart technology and AI technology, they're very intuitive and they can figure things out. They're looking for things that are outside the normal pattern, just as an idea. So in days of old, it's the central station that would say, okay, it was only a motion detector that went off in the middle of the house. So intuitively, that person who's reacting says, well, no front door, no windows, nothing. Just, yeah, it's probably just a bad sensor. But now with AI, it's figuring out those patterns and it's looking at different things, and the cameras get involved. So it's just a much more intuitive, proactive system that just helps everyone.
Well, and you talked about it already, the difference in cost. But when you're dealing with a house, our branding is the Nest Egg team. We're very big on like educating especially our first time home buyers now that this is truly an important investment, probably the most important investment you're going to make in your life. And that is one of the biggest lenses that we have to use when we're looking at the house is, regardless of how we feel emotionally about it, we have to be certain that the investment logistically makes sense. Financially.
And you also have to understand, the first time home buyers. I remember when I was a first time home buyer, I didn't know anything. You just don't know anything.
Yeah.
So people kind of have to be, it's probably a good idea to, because a lot of people, maybe they grew up in a house, but maybe they grew up in an apartment, or maybe they grew up in a rural area, or they're coming to a suburban area, or whatever. These are things that they haven't experienced. So they need guidance, not overbearing guidance, but guidance to say, okay, these are things you should consider. Your choice, your options. Right. But I know a guy.
Well, and yeah, exactly. And that's part of it is like, well, ultimately, you might spend a lot of money up front, but you're talking about a protection of your investment, because everybody, I feel like you said, old systems are reactive. People are also reactive, and we are not proactive in general, especially about our house. We don't, I made this entire crazy checklist for my buyers and it's in a calendar. What's that?
No checklists are crazy. I'm taking a sip. Hold on.
I appreciate that. I think I have the same water bottle as you. Look at this. Yes, I feel that way. No checklists are crazy, but some people feel overwhelmed by it. But I literally, with a little help from AI, I mapped out everything that on like a monthly, annually, bi-monthly, whatever basis that you should address or check in on things on your house. So at the same time, while I'm making a checklist, you are making products that kind of, or I guess you are installing products that do this for you.
But, when you're doing a survey on someone's home, it's just not the stuff that we do, because I've managed sales reps in the industry for a long time, but it's important to walk around the house with the people, because you're looking at, say, you see these bushes, they're concealers. You see this area here, you can't really see somebody that's going to put up a ladder to get into the second floor. Is the lighting really, as bright and as it needs to be? Motion detection lighting is the best. Do you want to have cameras that are picking up on these things? So it's just, looking at the perimeter, not just the inside, but the entire security picture becomes very important. And that's what a security company should provide. It's not just, you can go to somebody's house and just, hey, it's all about the total package, and that becomes important. And it leads to trust, because it should lead to trust. And you're doing what's best for your client or your potential clients.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one thing you're lacking from putting in your own system. And like you said, it's peace of mind. But someone said this to me, one of the contractors that I know, and he turned to we were talking about a lock on the door. He goes, listen, locks are for honest people. If someone's going to try and find a way in, they're going to find a way in. And like someone like you coming there and pointing out those other areas where it's like, hey, this is an unsafe thing. This is a very easy way for someone to access your house. that, you know, you're not going to be able to pick up with your DIY system or even think about it because you're not a professional in the space.
Yep.
So,
And even, you know, even the fact that you have a monitored system, you know, if someone is going to hit your neighborhood, they're going to go down the block and they're going to say, yeah, okay, this one has an alarm system, this one doesn't. You know, they may be bad people, but they're most of the time not that stupid. They, you know, they're going to choose the one that's not covered.
Right.
You know,
right.
there's a lot of stupid, but not to that level.
Yeah. Like there's a criminal common sense where it's like, all right, let's, you know, and efficiency without question.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm big into efficiency, so that makes sense.
Well, you seem to know a lot about this industry, so I don't think we had this question planned, but
I have fooled you.
Well, you perform it well. What kind of stuff are we going to see coming down the pike? Like, what kind of new things are we seeing that aren't really out yet, that are, like, again, merging with AI and stuff? Do you have any insights or cool things that, you know, are coming down the pike soon that are going to be available?
You know, if I really did, we wouldn't be talking, because I'd be much richer than I am right now. But, you know, I just think that the path of the ability for the systems to truly become much more analytic, you know, it generates data, but a lot of data that's generated, it's, you know, it's not all used. I think it'll get to the point where all the data that's generated by your systems will create these patterns. And I think that'll go to the nth degree, so that you're really understanding, you know, does it truly know which car is supposed to be in front of your house? They will eventually. Is it really supposed to know, you know, is that your dog? Is that, you know, is that someone that is, you know, one of your family, or is, you know, very quickly picking up on the fact that there's somebody in a place that they shouldn't be. So they'll become much, much more intuitive. You know, the devices themselves, you know, to a certain extent, they become widgets. But I think that, you know, as you break through more and more, you'll have companies that are going to be investing in these devices that will, with self-contained kind of operations, to be as intuitive as possible, so that, you know, because what is a burglar alarm system? What are most systems? It's sensor, output to the main board, input and output to the central station. It's really just in and out. But more and more, I think you're going to have the devices themselves being much more self-contained and have everything that you need to take care of all aspects of it. What do they say? That, you know, a Casio watch back in the day had more computing power than they had on the moon mission. So, you know, if you think about what the computing power that we will have, and to have each of these devices think on its own and react on its own, and then also have the ability to come together so that it knows that, hey, this camera picked this person up here, and then this camera also picked it up, and the interaction between the two, and figuring out what that means, and then and doing what you can to make sure that authorities are alerted. So I think that world will become much more extensive than it is now, and it's pretty extensive now. So it'll amaze us.
So it's more about, it's not necessarily about a new product or a new thing. It's more about just getting smarter. Like, everything's going to get much smarter at analyzing everything and figuring out what's going on.
Just this man's opinion, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's going to be something that, you know, just doesn't exist now that's all of a sudden going to be like, oh wow, a brand new type of products that's going to do security. I don't see that. But I just think, say, newer, better, stronger, faster, smarter. Yes.
Okay. And then I guess the only question I have on top of that is, with more of the new things coming out, and I'm thinking more of like the you know, like the water prevention and stuff like that, and like shutting off the water. I'm sure there's something similar for well, it wouldn't really work for oil, but are these security things?
Well, you know, oil is a liquid. And
right.
If you would have, I'm not 100% sure on this, but if it's a liquid and it gets on the detector, it probably works for that as well. I can check that, but I'm guessing that's checking. But if you have a leak in your oil tank, or, I heard something that happened years ago where it was a house that converted from oil to gas, but the oil company came and pumped oil into the house, even though there was no place for it to go. So you had a basement full of oil.
Yeah.
So maybe if they had a detector, all the damage, if you can imagine how disgusting that must have been. But pretty much, we can be flexible enough that if it's in your head, and it's an idea, we can explore it and see if we can figure it out. And that's, so when you're dealing with security and automation, it gives you that flexibility to do those things.
And now will you go to someone's house and let's just say, you know what, Steve, right now, I just want like the water detection. Like I just want that set up in my basement, the carbon monoxide wired in and stuff. I don't want the full alarm system. I just want the safety system. Does it still work? Do you do that?
How you use it? I mean, you're going to get, a basic system is going to be panel, keypad, or all-in-one keypad on the wall. You're going to get a couple of door window contacts, a motion detector, maybe a smoke. But you don't have to use it as an alarm system per se. And once you have it hooked up to the central station, you can never arm it, but all the life safety devices are going to be monitored. So yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, this was the first thing I thought of when I moved into my house too. I was like, oh, like peace of mind is so important. And it's funny. I do see the trend of more and more people are putting in alarm systems. And then I guess it's a question of, like if you have a Ring system or a Simply Safe or something like that, are they going to be on the cutting edge of the stuff that you're doing, which is way more powerful, way more secure, and far more intelligent. So if you,
I can't speak to that because I don't know, volume and revenue are important to companies like that. But
right.
Are they going to take the steps to, improve? I would think as it gets more competitive, sure. But there's also, the people who are a little bit more savvy. And once you get, like my house, I have a Ring doorbell and some Ring cameras, but I also have a full-blown CCTV system. So it covers everything. But what tends to happen with CCTV systems, whether commercially or residentially, is first off, the views. So when you do a CCTV installation, you're not finished, because when people live with the system, they're like, you're showing me this, but can you just do that? Sure, absolutely.
Well, one more camera problem right there. Yeah.
So,
I want to see my neighbor's driveway. I don't know what they're doing.
And one of the things you try not to do in the industry is, if you have somebody who has if they happen to put in 8 cameras, don't give them an 8-camera recorder. NVR back in the days, different names for different things, but because there's no room for advancement. So you want to, and they're not that much more expensive. So you want to build in the potential for growth, because once people get a feel for it and the things that they can see and the things that they can do, they tend to want to add on to it. So the Ring, that's great, and it's your front door and it sees what happens. But a lot of times people are like, I want more. And you want the full flexibility, and you want the ability to have that integrate with your security system. Because, for instance, if you're a business, you have an access control system, and you have 3 rooms that have access control locks on them. Okay, so John can get into room A and B, but you don't want John in room C. Okay, so you can create schedules for all those things, and you can lock certain people out. But a lot of companies are going to want to know that John is in A and B, but why is he trying to get into C when he doesn't have any business getting in there? Video clip. So you can have them interact and work together to complete the security picture. So it's it's just a lot of cool stuff. But once you get that taste, why don't we have this area covered? And I'd like to see what happens there. And couldn't something happen there? Yeah. So throw a camera up, and it's that once you have a system, that's with between wireless cameras or easy wire runs, just keep on adding.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And it's the mentality that it makes complete sense to me. Like, and I think most people suffer from that, and then not in a bad way. Just like once you realize that it's there and it's that easy and you could do it, you want to just wind up covering the whole house. Like you just want everything as much as you can in a reasonable way to be safe and secure.
100%.
Because again, to me, it's just like it's a protection of your investment, and how you go about it is the most important thing. What's right for you, what's right for your budget. But this clearly is a complete system. Like just the things you're talking, I feel like we haven't even really dove into like all the other cool stuff. Do you have any other cool things that you want to rattle off real quick that you have? Because I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, you're looking about things that you're looking at things that can increase the value of your home, and save you money, create efficiencies, create all those wonderful things. So, an overall smart home becomes important. So, smart thermostats, smart lighting. Of course, we talked about the smart security systems, smart locks. Why anyone? I haven't had a key in my house in years. I don't.
Yeah.
Both of them. We have a second house upstate. I don't have. I don't carry keys anymore except for a car key.
Yeah.
Smart appliances. Smart blinds. Smart speakers, and having like a Sonos system in your home. That's when we put ours in, it wasn't professionally put in, so it's still needs. I'm like the shoemaker whose kids don't have good shoes, but we have to get my house done a little better than it is. But just the concept that if the little girl wants to listen, you have a house-wide sound system, and your daughter wants to listen to this, but your son in his room wants to listen to this, and your wife in the kitchen or the living room or the den wants to be listening to different things, and you in your man cave want to be doing different things. All these different things, you have the ability to control that, and it can be handled separately. And then think about like a homeowners association with a common area. Okay, so do you want a sound system that's playing the same music in every room, or do you want the yoga room to have what people are choosing to listen to, and the mahjong room for people want to be listening to, and the gym having something they want to listen to, and the outdoor area by the pool? So these are the kind of things that you can do that, and that's really that's cool stuff. And of course, smart TVs and creating a home theater or a room in a business, or for meetings where you're kind of setting up a home theater kind of thing in a business. These are all very cool things to do, and they add tremendous value across the board. And when somebody's coming into your business, if your business looks old and tired, is that a good thing? It's not. You want it to look as good as possible so that people are comfortable there. They think it's a cool thing to do. So you do things, walking down the hallway and a long hallway in a business, have cool lights that go on by motion in different colors, just, for some pizzazz, and have smart TVs in every room where someone who's waiting, because we all, like a doctor's office, we do all wait in a doctor's office, give somebody the option, boom, they've got the smart TV. So many things you can do to make the experience of your home or your business cooler, more fun. And then you get into the cost savings. So if you want to make sure, you've got a view, but you want to make sure that when the sun is beating down and you're not there, you want to make sure that those shades are, you have the ability to control them, the ability to control the lights when you walk in a room, or if you just want to set a schedule, the ability to turn off appliances, because you would be very surprised how expensive it is to keep appliances on all the time. But if you have the ability with a simple application to control all that stuff, it's money saving, and it just makes life, it makes it more fun, because you're doing things that you're going to want to show off. It's like, wow, look what we did. Look what I can do. Watch my shades go up and down. What, I can control the lights. Look, music just went on here, and music just went on there. Those are cool things to do in your home. And of course, at the end, when you're when you're moving and looking to sell, that's what a great return on investment that is, because someone's going to walk in there, and if you go into a plain house that just happened to be it's staged with furniture and freshly painted, okay, but if you have a house where the real estate agent, the realtor, can go in and say, let me show you something. Shades
Yeah.
go up and down. And look at
Mhm.
what we can do with the lights and all that stuff. And that's all going to be part of the house.
I mean, to
My
me,
house.
the biggest appeal is the money saving aspect of it, because like my favorite thing is when I get the ecobee report that's like, oh, hey, look, you wound up saving like $72 a month this month on your energy because you have this set. So
Mhm. Yep.
combining several systems that intelligently can do it for you with all your
Mhm.
presets and everything is just so awesome. Especially, like houses
Yep.
prices are through the roof. Everything's expensive. We all know that. So I always tell my buyers, you save money wherever you can. Like the first thing we do, after someone closes, like I set up, a 2-week, post-close Zoom with them, and I
Mhm.
show them how to file for their star tax relief. I show them how to get their
Got
tax
a
previsions
nice
going.
check from that this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll
it's like,
take it.
okay, yeah, I'll take it. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
I'll
yeah.
take any money someone wants to give me, I'm gonna take. And that's the thing. I'm like, listen, we're gonna set you up, like I'm gonna help you grieve your taxes, because and all you gotta do is fill out a form. And if you win, you get money. It's great. Every
Yep.
dollar counts. So why not
Nice.
take advantage of everything we can? And if you can buy a house that has this system involved, yeah, I mean, you're really stepping into something that is going to save you money right off the bat. So it's a total win
100%.
for anybody to
Yeah.
do it.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, didn't ask you one question,
Uh-oh.
which just give me the background. How long have you been doing this? How many years you've been in business? How long has Brookville been around?
Okay. I've been in the security industry since 1996.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, and Brookhill has been around since 2015.
Brookhill. I'm sorry. I said
Predom
Brookville. My apologies. I meant Brookhill.
Yeah, no, I didn't pick up on it, so it's okay. Edit that out. Brookhill. Rocco Dano is our CEO. He founded the company in 2015. I've been here since last year, just about a year now. And I was kind of brought on, he's the technical guy. I'm the policies, procedures, strategies, marketing, yada, yada guy.
Mm.
So hired as a COO, CRO, mostly had the CRO hat, doing a lot of branding, a lot of networking. And it's been great because, the more people you meet, and Stan knows Fred and Fred knows Joe, and it's all legitimizing. You're building your pyramid. But I came on because of my security experience, and that's where Rocco wants to bring the company. Not taking anything away from any of the automation we do, but we really want to grow the security side.
Mm.
Mainly because of the recurring revenue that's involved, and that also makes it a two-way street for you and your customers, because we have an investment where we want to provide the best service we can. And I have built same day, next day service in other companies, and that's what we want to provide here. And basically what that means is if you call us before noon on a Tuesday, we're going to do our best to get there that day. If you call us after that, we're going to make sure we get there if we can that day, great, but by the next day, because that doesn't exist to any great extent. There's some big companies that shall remain nameless that you can wait 2 weeks for service. That's not us, and that's not going to be us as we grow. So the providing of service is an important aspect of what we want to do continually. And we're acquiring a couple of companies that coming down the pipe very soon. And that's as we grow, both with acquisitions and organically. That's just who we are and who we want to continue to be. So we're having fun. We're getting out there. We've rebranded from Brookhill Tech Designs, which was a little long. We're now just Brookhill, and as I said before, safe, smart, cool. And we're redoing, because it never ends, the website.
Never does.
Never does. And we're out there on Instagram and Facebook, and eventually we'll be out there on Google Ads. We're also having conversations with some local print advertising, because local isn't dead, print isn't dead,
No,
and
it's
it's a
not.
great way to reach people. So we're
Mhm.
doing so much, and I'm having these kind of one-on-one discussions because I'm in a number of industry associations. I'm in a number of chambers of commerce and some networking groups, and you get to know good people. And, as I like to say, I run all plays. You never know who somebody's going to know, and you never know how you can help someone. And the more you get to know people, the better off it is, because maybe on the fifth call, speaking to John, he starts talking about his business and, I'm having this problem, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? I know somebody. And that's just how it works. And you get out there with networking, and you do realize there's so many people that just don't have a clue as to how to really network. So, I like to educate as well, to help people whenever I can, because the better they are in networking, it's just going to be good for me, because it becomes, that kind of synergy. So,
yeah, it is true. I've been involved in some of the networking things, and my one issue with them always is it becomes just very, if it's not done right, it becomes bland, and it becomes like, well, why would I keep coming here? Especially if it's, like I said, this is my networking. Like, I love doing this. I like being able to sit down with someone, rack their brain about business, tell me what you do, explain everything to me. I feel great about that one-to-one thing, but I know there are some really great networking groups out there that, a good friend of mine is part of one that he loves. And he tried to get me in, and he's like, it's a 7:30 breakfast. You go to the hotel, you go breakfast, you get up there, you speak, you do this, and then you meet. And I was like, yeah, that actually sounds really good. That's like more my
you
speed.
refine your elevator speech. You
Yeah.
need to be like, you asked me to sum it up, and it was probably 30 seconds, or thereabouts. But yeah, that's what you're doing, and that's most of the networking groups, that is what they do. You're around a table or wherever you are, and at a breakfast or on Zoom, and you're just introducing who and what you are, and maybe you sell to some of those people, but you want to get to the point of the relationship is such that they're going to talk to you about you to someone else because of their conversations that they're having. So, and that is what it's all about. But but I treat the associations that I'm in, as well as the chambers that I'm in, as if they were networking groups. So I look at everyone that's, I joined the Melville Chamber of Commerce. So, I sent out a whole bunch of emails, and I got a whole bunch of responses, and, and have good relationships forming with some of those. Some people just join those groups, and they go to, the meet and greets at 5:30 to 7, having some wine and some food, and they think that's networking. It's tough to accomplish what you really need to in the 20 seconds you're going to get. You have to push it to try to get the one-on-ones. And I give out tons of business cards, but most of the time, honestly, I never get responses from business cards that I give out. What I do is I like to collect business cards, and then I do my voodoo, which is getting the emails out, pushing the process, and that's where things happen. So
yeah, it's the follow-up. It always is the follow-up.
It's always the follow-up. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I could probably go 45 more minutes with you, getting the ins and outs of networking and how to do it right. But I know you're a busy man, so
maybe a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would do another episode with you just talking straight business fundamentals, because I think you have a lot to offer there. So
you know what, John, I'd love to.
Yeah, so I think it would be really cool.
Yeah, we'd set that up for another day.
I want to thank you for coming on. Like I said, I know you're busy.
My pleasure.
This was super informative, and yeah, thank you very much. So. And just give us the business info one more time. What's the easiest way to get in touch with you guys if someone wants to call for a consultation or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, our main number is 516-421-6999. Our website is BrookhillNewYork.com. And, I'm S. Schlansky, which is S and then SCHLANSKY dash NewYork.com.
Great.
So S. Schlansky at Brookhill-NewYork.com.
Perfect. That's great. And yeah, anybody who's thinking about automation, smart home, security, they got a great resource here. So
yeah, want to call for advice or whatever it might be. I'm good.
Awesome. All right, Steve, again, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and we will have to do this again.
Sounds good, John. You take care.